Hi, I was watching Kaiser Report, and one of the titles of the series was that Max was asking if it was possible uh, to to cleanse the financial system from all the fraud and mismanagement, all the money printing, all these bonds that are circulating around the world with no backing, really, all kinds of shenanigans, derivatives. Is it really possible? And then I think they were talking about the hard money currency that usually when things go wrong in a country like Mozambique or Venezuela or even here, it's going to happen. Then people start buying hard currencies, and usually hard currencies are also fiat currencies. But the countries that issued those fiat currencies, they didn't mismanage their their money. They didn't issue all kinds of bonds. They don't have financial fraud as much as the Americans or the British. Well, these days, all the fiat currencies, they have become tied together, except a few countries like I think Iran, North Korea, maybe ruble. Ruble is free floating, but the central bank is very conscious of what's going on with the exchange rate. And then what else? Just few countries. Everybody else is tied to the dollar system, and then they're all trying to get out of it. Uh, for example, when things went bad in Greece, a lot of Greeks also started using different currencies than euro. I guess there was some meeting between the Greek finance minister and Russian banks, and basically it was a situation where there was a concurrent currency, ruble, and people were running out of euro or running out of Greek banks. So basically, this idea seems to be the way to get out of a mess is to use something like hard currency like gold or silver. But then these days, the Fed is suppressing the price of precious metals. So really, nobody knows the value of the dollar and how much it has crashed. Uh, but we all look at the numbers and they seem fine. I find it very strange that the price of gold is totally fluctuating around 1200 to 1300. This so bogus. Same with the silver, and even sometimes it becomes cheaper. I was buying some silver, and I saw that the price was like from the metal company was like 20-30 bucks cheaper when I got to it. It was well, yeah. So what what Bitcoin offers is that it's independent of the Fed, and it shows its own value. It's not dependent on somebody's political decision or printing money, all that stuff. In fact, the price of Bitcoin has appreciated over the years. I don't know, it's 8,000. I think I'm gonna be buying some Ethereum to buy new issue cryptocurrencies with it. I made some money from one of the cryptocurrencies that I bought a couple of years ago. It appreciated. I made some money. Anyhow, what they say, the expression, what's good for the goose is also good for the gander, and the the smaller countries which are destroying their own currency, like Turkey or some other European countries, they are publishing their own currency and they're buying the U.S. dollar or treasuries. We don't know where the U.S. dollar is going to end up dying, and then their, their value of their currency is collapsing. So some countries like Iran, they don't want any such thing. They don't even want U.S. dollar. But then private parties, they are so crazy and they have such history with this dollar fiat currency that they nonetheless they keep going and searching for this stupid thing, and they crash their, for example, Iranian currency. But then the Iranian government comes around and says we are not trading in dollars, and if you do and we catch you, then you're gonna get jail time or like the disasters that are happening for the dollar also propagating into other countries, regardless of how rational and how strict that country is with their monetary policy. Because the Americans have made so much mess in the financial markets with all the money printing. We don't know where this phony money has gone and who is holding so much of their treasuries. Basically, they are worthless. They're fiat that some foreign bank and the government that's extremely hostile to many countries has issued this currency. And so I think that for example, the French used to do the same thing. They would publish fiat currencies, a certain fiat, and they abuse and mismanage it and give it to their friends, and then they go through these periods, and every like so many years they come around and they bring out all the printing plates that they use to print that currency, and break them in public, and then they send some of the bankers to prison or guillotine, and then start new plates. Then they do the same another so many years. So I think the French are so cute. Their women too. They are so sweet. But they do the same stuff that the Americans or the British do, but they are less. They don't believe in their own bullshit as much as the Anglo-Saxons do, and you can sometimes see what is going on behind the scene. Anyhow, I think that I just want to talk about the method whereby even the Fed, or if I'm hoping that the foreign banks also do this method to get out of this system. Well, actually, I think the Chinese have issued the gold-backed yuan, which is the same yuan as I think a regular yuan. I have to look that up. If they delineate the two, then but that's not really a complete solution. The complete solution would be like either Bitcoin, but then there is another way, which is like halfway between these two. Is either do what the French did, send a bunch of these guys to guillotine and break the printing place and bring new ones, and say, oh my God, we have just so repentful, and we have repented, and we're gonna publish good money. Or I hear that the Fed is thinking about, or has already done it secretly, of doing a Fed coin, which is a cryptocurrency, was issued by the central bank. Well, then again, we could even improve on that, and if I were in charge, I would do what the Bitcoin does. Say, for example, the Fed is able to print or create a blockchain which with so many coins in it. Okay, so I would issue a coin for the for say for example January of 2019. Okay, so this coin probably has a nickname, and there's only so many coins, and I would keep this currency away from all the other shenanigans that's going on. Let them commit financial suicide, like the Fed and the J.P. Morgan, but yet they have a different division where a cryptocurrency which is not totally crypto, similar to Bitcoin, is created, and then only pay or use this crypto for the most legitimate forms of payment that the Fed or the government has to pay. For example, only use it to pay the employees or the disabled or Social Security, and keep it away from expenditures that could be fraudulent or troublesome. For example, I don't know if I would use it to pay the military or military contractor or Star Wars with it, because it will have the same future as the rest of the money or the regular US dollar, but this one would be more well managed. And okay, so say for example we did that, and then we only issue so many of these coins for the month of January to pay the best people, and also make this coin, the price, floatable against the regular dollar. Okay, so say for example a portion of the population received this money, and they knew there is no more of these crypto coins. What was issued for January is like a closed universe, and you could either save it or spend it anytime you want against the floating price of it with the regular dollar. And this would be similar to Bitcoin. It could appreciate in price and be a form of hard currency. Well, then I would issue it by Treasury, not by Fed or the banks, and very much strictly manage the use and not allow it to get abused or be republished in any shape and form. This would be similar to what the French were doing every 40-50 years, bring out the plates for their fiat currency, break them in public, and send the bankers to the prison. You don't have to do it in that fashion. You could do it differently, and this will give the government a chance to prevent its own complete demise, because there will be a form of hard currency, and then this can go on like every month, issue a new set of crypto coins. It will have another nickname, another blockchain ledger, and will be again a closed universe. So the people that receive this this coin, if they spend it, well, they paid their bills, and the government has done what the function they wanted, and was transferable to regular dollar, no matter what the regular dollar is doing. Or it will have a floating price with the regular dollar. And then we go on like every month like this. But if they didn't spend it, it's because it's a closed universe, a closed cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. The price will appreciate, and the people who have this card or this cryptocurrency, it will be to them, uh, they could have a savings, and it could appreciate similar to the appreciation that the Bitcoin has. But I would be extremely strict in how this currency is issued and used, because this is like a lifeline, and if you cut your own lifeline, then all the faith will be lost, something like that. But better than this idea would be if countries, other countries used it, because the Americans are very dedicated to their fraud and militarism, and but other countries like Iran, I think they issue the cryptocurrency. I don't know how they're paying their employees, or the most legitimate payment that the government has. Well, there were some ideas of lowering the number of zeros on the Iranian tuman or rial, taking 4 zeros off, so the Iranian tuman will be more more manageable numbers or something like that. It's all fiat, but it's a form of well, redesigning the money to reflect. But just because one fiat currency is dying, it shouldn't be the death of everybody else's. Okay, so it's like a contagion. Well, I was seeing on the YouTube videos that Lindsay Linette, she was saying that the Turks have completely crashed the lira, and they have done this many times before. I think their government publishes debt in US dollar, and then they sell it off, and then they buy lira, or I don't know what they do. They basically they have issued lira to themselves, and then went and bought zillions of dollars, and then but this just exasperates all the bad situation that the dollar has created. There's all these dollars in the world. There's nothing economic that reflects this amount of currency. But the economic activity, okay, is separate than denomination of that economic activity by currency, and the US dollar could crash. I don't think that's the end of the world, like some analysts are saying that, oh my God, it's like a nuclear bomb went off. But it's because they have just too much faith in their own selves and their own currency. But there is gold, there is other currencies, and some countries will survive and they do things differently and or better. I think the Swiss were more more prudent with the issuing money. I don't know. Well, I think there is a chance that even the Fed or the U.S. Treasury could amend or repair things to a form where if this thing completely crashes, then there is a lifeline for other most important aspects of the government or the continuity of government to go on. Anyhow, thank you for being in my YouTube channel, and I wanna finish this with a joke. You know, there's a lot of Bibles that are not official Bibles, and there are stories about Jesus that you know, some Christians are not sure if this story is true, but it's like part of the folklore. And, you know, there is one the Sufis have. There's this guy who comes to Jesus, and you know, whatever you ask of God or of Jesus, He will just give it to you. So he tells Jesus, hey, I want to have your gift. I want to bring the dead back to life. So Jesus tells him, fine, you got it. So this guy, he's going out of town. He's going with his donkey, and he comes to a part of the wilderness, and he sees that there's like bones of a dead lion lying on the ground. So he says he reads this incantation that Jesus told him. You read this, and he does that. So the lion comes back to life, and the lion will do what the lion does. It tears him apart. So I kind of feel like I'm doing something like that, bringing the bad guys, the Fed, the money printers, the war makers, helping them get a new lease. But then one can be prudent and use ideas, to save the best of a system rather than do more of the same fraud. Thank you for being in my YouTube channel, and please subscribe.